Let me know if this sounds familiar. You're successful on paper, but you feel invisible in your own life, and you've been everyone else's everything for so long that you don't even know who you are anymore. Welcome to midlife. Well, my guest today is going to share her story about how she blew up her entire life and got on the other side and the lessons that she's learned. You are going to love this episode. Hey there, it's Tracy Matthews. Welcome back to Creatives Rule the World. This is the podcast for creatives who are building brands and are becoming the wealthiest versions of themselves in all definitions of the word. I am so excited to be here today with my dear friend, Jen Polt, who I met about a year ago at the Alt Summit. When I met her, I was so magnetized to her energy. She has just had this presence, this confidence, and I'm like, I need to know her. And our paths led together. I watched her speak, and I was speaking at the same conference, and eventually we became internet friends. And I invited her when she was here in Arizona a couple of months ago to come be on the podcast, and we had such an incredible episode. I'm so excited for you to dive in and listen to this. And since then, she has become a graduate of my Art of Reinvention program, and I'm personally mentoring her, and I'm so excited about what she is up to next. And we are going to dive deep into all of that. So if you're a woman who's in midlife, who is in a season of reinvention, and you're ready for your next step, and it feels like everything's kind of blowing up around you, I feel like that's a current theme in the world, then you're going to love this episode, because the confidence that you can gain after 50 and step into the most powerful season of your life is palpable. And I'm excited to share this story with you and give you some actionable tips from Jen. So let's dive into this episode. Well, I am so excited to have Jen Polt on the show today.
Hey!
So we met at the Alt Summit in March.
Yes.
Jen and I were both speakers, and it was so fun to just get introduced to your energy. Because that's like, when I think of you, I think of this big, like, energetic
Shameless
thing coming out that you cannot ignore.
Oh, God.
In a good way.
Okay.
No, and I say that with love, because I was there with my friend Beth, and we were sharing a room. She's like, oh, and I saw you. I remember walking out to the bar to get a drink that first night. I was like, this is a little overwhelming. Everyone was wearing sparkles. And I see you, and I was like, that girl's cool. Like, look at her edgy haircut, like all this stuff. I'm like, I'm going to get to know her by the end of it. And then 5 seconds later, we're sitting at a table together.
I know.
I don't even know how that happened.
So funny. Isn't that how you like magnetize to people? I always find that really interesting. Like
Yes.
when you get drawn to people for some reason.
So we're going to talk about reinventing yourself in midlife today,
Yeah.
which I think has been a huge topic for me. And you have a really interesting journey. So take us back a little bit and tell us a little bit about your history and your career and
Sure.
all the things.
So I spent 25 years in corporate America. I was in sales and education. My background, I went to school to be a teacher. I taught high school, and then I went into sales. And so always throughout my life, I've been in sales or training in one way, shape, or form. During COVID, I was a account executive, a sales and training executive for Chanel for fragrance and beauty. And so my role was to teach all the teams how to sell product and work with clients and all those things. And here we are in the middle of COVID, lockdown, everyone's got half their face covered, all the things are happening, and we're all at home. And that sounded great.
Not me.
When we all thought it was going to be a few months. And then it was like, oh God, this is going to be a while. And at the time, I was just trying to network. I was just trying to just connect with people. I was bored at home. I wanted to kill my husband. I was like, please, I just need to talk to some other people, please. Some women, please. So there were some Facebook groups that were talking about style and fashion and things. And it was a nice diversion from what was going on in the world. And so I started to create a little content for it. I was like,
Amazing.
well, I know beauty. I'll do some beauty tutorials, because people
Love
are putting
it.
up their outfits like, here's what I'm wearing to dinner at my dining room table because we weren't going anywhere.
That's
Just
so
fun
fun.
things, just like we were doing challenges just to try to keep people's
Excited.
spirits up and all that. And so that turned into some of those women asking about, do I have an Instagram? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, she's got dust bunnies on her, but she's an Instagram. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm a Gen Xer. Like, I had a MySpace, like, I don't know from, what's a hashtag?
We were talking about Friendster before.
Right, Friendster, like, what the fuck's a hashtag?
Most people
I
don't know
idea.
what Friendster is,
No.
but we do. Friendster and
Exactly,
MySpace.
exactly. I was like, I remember dial-up, like, so what? So I was like, okay, I'll dust off my Instagram, and I started to create content on Instagram. I would post there, and then I would repost it on my Instagram. Never thought anything of it. And then when COVID seemed to be stretching out, and then there was that thought of, okay, now I've got to go back into stores and try to motivate people to sell skincare and beauty and fragrance to people that they can't touch, they can't stand closer than 6 feet from.
So crazy.
Half their face is covered if they come into store at all. You're right, exactly. You're like, that
Let me
looks
put a
good.
little makeup on you.
and all the testers are locked off, so no one could
that's
touch any of the
right.
product
I didn't
either.
even think of that.
Right, no one could put their fingers in anything. So I'm going, how the hell are we supposed to make numbers and do all of this? And I thought, well, we're all going to have to become influencers, basically, like unboxing videos and video tutorials, and maybe we're doing virtual lessons, whatever. And so that's how it started to evolve. I thought, you know what, let me learn this more seriously so that I can go into stores and teach my teams how to use it. So ideally, it started as an idea of advancing my career. And then it turned into, holy shit, I think I'm an influencer.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a video go viral or something?
Yeah, I had 2. So I had done it for about a year and a half. I only had a few thousand people following me at the time. And my friend was calling me her influencer friend. I'm like, bitch, please. I'm like, at the time I had 1,600 followers. I'm like, oh yeah, Kim K, watch out. I'm coming for you. Here it comes. And that, a year and a half later after I started, I had my first viral moment. And it was just a silly lip sync video, not even a music lip sync. It was a funny thing I saw that I thought would connect with my community, and had the F word in it, which always connects with my community.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's on brand. And I hit that, and I went from 3,000 to 40,000 people in the span of 4 months.
Wow.
And then there was that moment of, I wonder what this could be a job? Could I do this? And I was trying to get brand deals and brands reaching out and asking to work with me, whatever. And then fast forward that summer, I had another one, and I went from 50,000 people to 100,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And so in the summer of 2022, 2 years after I started, I was sitting at 100,000 people in the community, and then I went,
This is a real thing.
Yeah, I'm going to put some wild shit out into the universe. And I was like, I'm going to quit my corporate job and do this full time.
Wow.
Next spring after I get my bonus, because I'm not stupid.
Wait for the bonus.
I was excited, but I'm not dumb.
So you had some time then to plan your exit.
Yeah. And and it was interesting. Even my boss at the time, she knew all about it and what I was doing. And she was like, you're onto something. You have to keep going. There's something here that you're doing that's really connecting.
Special, yeah.
Yeah, and so it evolved. And then, and then I left corporate in the spring of 2023 to start my own thing.
Amazing. And you haven't looked back.
Every day I've looked back. Every day when I have to pay my own insurance and and file my own taxes and all of those things. But
how has that journey been? Because we're both, I think we're the same age. I'm 54.
Yeah, same.
Okay, we're 54, midlife. I'm also in the middle of a big pivot. What is that like to go from a corporate job to being your own brand?
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
I think that the biggest struggle I had was the peopling. I went from managing teams and being part of teams and interacting with people daily. I was out in stores, I was at accounts, I was working with my colleagues, and I went from peopling to know people.
And you're definitely an extrovert.
Right. I can calm the hell down. I like I'm an only child, so I still like my quiet, chill out time. But there was that feeling of, oh wow, I'm missing people, connecting with people. And too, I think the structure of being in corporate, where everything is basically planned out for you. Here's your Friday. You've got 19 Teams calls and 2 whatever the hell you have to do. You open up a calendar and it's a blank slate, and you're making the calendar.
Right.
So it's a big adjustment. I think a lot of people think, oh, this is so great that you can do this, and yeah, but the adjustment was really hard, and it still is at times.
I'm curious, how did you create structure for yourself? I know this is a different direction we're going to take in, but I think this would be really helpful for the people listening, because many of them are starting their own businesses for the first time after leaving a corporate job. Yeah,
I think I started to just really lean into what were the, when you're a content creator, you start talking about content pillars,
right?
The things that, okay, what are the key kind of broad stroke subjects that you're going to continue to talk about? So beauty obviously was a piece of it, because I had a beauty background. Style had become a part of it.
Right.
I never considered myself someone who was super stylish, but
I love your outfits.
Thanks. But people liked how I put things together, and that I played with things that were inexpensive and higher end, and that they could aspire to a look and not have to spend $10,000 on that look. So I knew that was going to be part of it, but I also felt that there was a pillar for me, and that's the purpose pillar. I kind of feel like is just that inspiration and motivation for women to stop playing small and to really tap into themselves. I'm noodling on a show right now, and I'm going to call it She's So Self-Centered.
I love it so much.
Because I'm trying to get women back centered into self, because I think that's often used as a weapon against us. Oh, well, she's very selfish. Well, isn't she full of herself? Well, she's gotten really self-centered ever since she this. It's just as women start to become confident and powerful, people want to tell them that they're selfish or self-centered. And
well,
I was
it's
like,
interesting
hell yeah.
because being selfish is actually the best thing that you could do, because if you take care of yourself, you can take care of everyone else so much better.
100%. And it's such a slam for women, because we're wired and we're programmed from a very young age to be selfless. And the more selfless a woman is, the more higher she's held in esteem by people. Oh, she's so selfless. Unconditional love. Right. Like selfless, unconditional love, all of those things. There should be conditions on love. There should be conditions for people who have access to you. And I think that's some of the things that we're given as messaging as young girls, that we have to give up pieces of ourselves in order to be received and loved. And I'm trying to help women get back in tune with, hey, you can be loved and received well by being exactly who you are and not just in service to other people.
So how did this kind of pivot into confidence coaching? You started coaching women now.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
It's fun. It's something I never even realized until I sat down and started to really do it, that I've been doing this my whole life. When I was teaching, I was a high school teacher. And it was
You're probably the coolest teacher.
I was a badass. I'm not going to lie. I was a badass teacher, but I was a hard ass. I was the most feared teacher in the school. Like, I'd walk down the hallway and they'd scatter like fiddler crabs on a beach. They were like, go get your books. She's coming. Like, there was that thing of, they knew I was no bullshit because they knew I cared. And it was that balance for them. And it was important for the group of kids that I was teaching, because a lot of them were kicked out for bullshit things. They were screwing off and whatever. It wasn't like they were, bad kids. They came from good homes and they just were screwing up.
Yeah.
And so
being kids.
Yeah. And I created something called Women's Group. For most of the girls I had were 16, 17-year-old junior seniors, and I created a women's group, I called it. And we would journal and we would talk about all kinds of things.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was a mentorship kind of program to get them centered back into, like, what do you love? What do you, and to be very, confident and vocal about advocating for themselves. And it wasn't until I started doing this work just a couple of years ago that I realized, holy shit, I've been doing this since I was in my 20s.
Right.
Just in different ways. So yeah, it's been great. I mean, I do some coaching one-on-one, and now I'm working on some group things because I think that'll be more impactful.
Yes.
Because I find that in my smaller group sessions, women are more vulnerable with each other, and they can also, they give each other therapy in ways that is really wonderful to see. Someone stepping in to the light and saying, this is my story, and sharing their vulnerability encourages others to do the same. And
1,000%.
There's this really cool ripple effect with that.
That's amazing. And also the work that you did with kids, like, amazing. Because I feel like our younger generation really needs some guidance right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a while ago, but still, I think even in...
Yeah.
And I was thinking during that time, I'm like, we got away with so much. No one was paying attention.
No.
We're all messed up now because no one was paying attention.
We're going rogue.
Jason was blowing up stuff. We were sneaking out at night.
Exactly. Climbing on roofs. Just doing dumb shit. Sitting by the train tracks, getting drunk, just getting dumb.
It's amazing that we're alive.
It is amazing. No helmets, roller skating, no knee pads, no helmets. What's wrong?
We lived on top of this big hill. My brothers had skateboards. They would skateboard down that thing so fast with cars coming. Like,
me too.
It's amazing that they weren't dead. Like,
I know. I think
and
about
they
it
would
too.
roll down, fall off and roll down.
I'm so glad I never had children. I'd be total helicopter mom. I'd be like, oh no, let's wrap you up in blankets and pillows and send you out in the world. Like, I would be terrible.
That is so funny. So you had another really big life moment after.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Open book. Let her rip.
Yeah. So you had another really big life moment after you quit your job. You're like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. All the things happened.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I got this because I'm being held by someone else, and now you're not. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I first threw that notion out in the universe, 9 months prior, I told my husband, and I think he thought I was just on my shit again, because I'm a little bit squirrel brained. I get excited about things. Creatives do. We all kind of, maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll do this. And I would get going down a road, and then I'd give up on it, or I'd be like, okay, I'm not as interested anymore. I'm bored.
Right.
And so I think at first he didn't think that I was serious. And then 6 months later, I'm still talking about it. And then one day in tears at a dinner table, in a restaurant, I was like, I need to do this. I need to try. I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life if I don't try. And I feel like now is the time for me to try this. And I was miserable at my job. It just, the job had shifted and morphed into a job description that
Was not your job.
No, it wasn't for me. And so he was like, okay. So we go home, we run all the numbers, do all the things. He was numbers guy, and I was dreams, and
Exactly.
I was like,
Perfect combination.
Right. I used to call us ideas and execution. I was ideas. He was execution.
I feel so seen right now.
Exactly. I'm like, I got all kinds of things I want to do, and he's like, okay. First of all, should we measure the wall where you want to put that thing? So and so there was that thing of, okay, let's do the realism part. And he, we sat down. What do you think you bring to we did all the numbers. He's like, okay, I go, just give me a year. I just want to try this for a year. And then if I can't make it work, then I'll go back and get a job. Mm-hmm. I knew my skill set was marketable.
Yes. Sales anytime is marketable. If you can sell.
Exactly.
And you can motivate people, easy.
So I was like, okay, just give me, all right, I'm in. Okay, great. 3 weeks later, I put in my 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I leave Chanel. And 3 weeks later, he came home, and in a really calm conversation at the kitchen island, he told me he didn't want to be married to me anymore.
Wow.
And it was just that feeling of, because I was like, oh, shit, I didn't see this coming. This was not what I thought was going to happen. I won't say that I was completely blindsided that we weren't going to be together forever, but I was certainly blindsided by the timing of it.
Right. Why wouldn't he have told you earlier?
Right.
Why did you wait until you put the 2 weeks in?
Exactly. But in some ways, to be honest...
But also, it was probably best for you, because you wouldn't have
100%.
quit your job.
I wouldn't have. Because I would have been like, hey, safety, security.
Right.
I've got, I'm making a nice piece of coin. I've got all my benefits. And I probably wouldn't have fought for myself in the split either, because I would have been like, come on, I'm doing well. Like, what's there for me to fight for? So I think there was that feeling of, oh, okay. And I just, I tell my community this all the time. Only let someone tell you they don't love you one time. So I just didn't even fight it. I was like, okay.
Wow. No, okay, but you kind of knew that it wasn't going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think, a few months before I had said to one of my best girlfriends, I said, I have a strong suspicion that if this goes where I think it could go, I don't think he's going to be there in the front row clapping for me. There was just that feeling of he wasn't on board for my dreams the way I was on board for his. And so there was that shift of, I'm going to probably have to choose one or the other.
Were you together for a long time?
13 years.
Oh, wow, that's significant.
Yeah, and we'd known each other for 20.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was tough. I mean, I lost one of my closest friends and, my husband.
That's the worst.
Yeah, it was just a lot of adjustment. And then on the heels of it all, here I am working from home where we live together and trying to get this thing off the ground. And I said, it was like I was going down the runway and I'm about to take off, and then someone greased the runway.
Oh, God.
And it was just, that feeling of how am I supposed to be inspired? How do I turn on a camera and inspire and motivate people when I am walking around like a walking zombie, just crying my eyes out every day? Like, all I want to do is eat Oreos and tell everyone to fuck off. If you need me, I will be the unshowered one in the corner in her feelings. Like, there was just that.
I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot to muster up the energy to just turn on the camera. And I didn't talk about it for a while.
Well, of course, because you're still processing it all and you don't know how to...
Yeah, and I was also in that space of how much do I divulge and how much do I keep to myself, because there is that fine line when you're sort of public as far as how much do you give and how much do you keep for yourself.
Yeah, Brene Brown calls it you speak from the scar, not the wound.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a really good one.
Yes.
That damn Brene Brown, she's always coming up with good shit.
Always coming up with good shit.
Yeah, but there is that feeling. And I think over time I did finally share it. And the connection that built from my community to me was exponential. So it was just a lesson in vulnerability for sure, and how powerful that can be.
Yes, and I think one of the things that we realize in life as we're growing and we're in relationship with people. I mean, the same thing, something very similar happened to me. There are people who are going to go on our journey for a certain point, but they can't handle the bigness.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel so lucky to be with Jason because we're both expansive and we expand each other. But my ex-husband, it was a tough journey for a while. Like we met very young. We were together. We were so excited for each other's dreams. And then when I started achieving my dreams and he wasn't achieving his, he was out.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to digest.
For sure.
For so many reasons, because you're like, this is the person who's supposed to be the holder of the dream to help it grow, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that feeling of is it collaboration or is it competition?
Exactly.
And I feel like, unfortunately, I think there was that feeling of just not being into it, like to your point, like not carrying it, like, okay, I'm going to go do my thing and you can go do your thing.
And you know what I think is interesting? I think strong, powerful women who are following their dreams, who are with men maybe who either can't hold that space, don't believe in the space, want the woman to be smaller than the thing, or they are conflicted because their thing isn't working. It's like it's just triggering their own shit, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it really has nothing to do with you, which is the best part.
I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, I it's funny. I'm dating now, and someone will be like, "Oh, so what have you learned about?" And I'm like, "Oh, what could you have done different?" I'm like, "I don't know." To be honest, like I want to be that person who's like, "Oh, I've really done," and I have done the work. But I also realize that like I tried to show up the best way that I could for this person, and whether or not they're able to receive the way I show up for them is a totally different thing. And I think sometimes the lesson is in the choosing the right person,
right,
and not just in the I effed up, because I don't feel like I was a bad wife. I feel like I was a good wife. I mean, of course I could be better here and there, but I think
we all could be.
Yeah, and I'm not some cocky space of like, oh, I'm amazing, but there was just that feeling of I gave it my all, and so when it was not enough, I was like, well, that's all I got for you. So if that's not enough for you, then good, then you should go. Like, tell me one time. You only have to tell me one time.
Yeah, it's interesting how our relationships can be our biggest teachers and help catapult us into our next level, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
We were talking before the show that Jason and I are starting a podcast called I Love You, Why Do You Trigger Me So Much?
I love that.
But I think it's like so important to understand that, our relationships really are our biggest teachers, and they can expand us or contract us.
For sure.
And hopefully you just choose someone who expands you, even if they annoy the shit out of you sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I love following Jillian Turecki, and she says something that like a relationship is a mirror.
Yes.
It holds up to you the places where you have some work to do and
exactly.
you have some healing to do. And that concept of being completely healed when you walk into something new.
You're never healed.
You're never healed. You're in the process of healing, but the healing really comes when you're being held by someone who is like, I got you. Like, you can be a mess and I still love you and it's cool. And I'm going to work around that and understand what makes you a mess so that I can help you get past the mess. Like there's those things that you do when you love somebody that can contribute to the healing and not prolong it.
So if we have some men in the DC area who are listening to this podcast, what are you looking for?
Hello, sir. Hello. Thank you for asking. It's funny. It's funny the wish list, right, that you have when you're younger versus as you get older, and I really do. I want gentleness, and I think I've always really held firm to like this masculine guy who could be really strong, but I really want laughter and a safe space for my for my dreams and my vulnerabilities, and I want a lap I can put my head in and feel like this is the space I want to be in. Someone
who can hold space for you because you have big energy.
Yeah. I think there is that, and I think I've recognized in my own work and my own stuff, that I have often shown up as the strong one for a lot of people in my life, and I have not allowed other people to show up as a strong one for me. Ooh. And so I think what I have learned and what has been a lesson for me is more of a practice of vulnerability, like a true practice of it, and not just talking about it.
Yeah, that's a hard one for strong women.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a big evolution for me in recognizing that I have been that girl for a very long time. And so many of my friends and women I know, strong women, we're proud of that mantle that we wear of, I got it. Like, I can do this for myself. There isn't that, like, I don't have that, I don't need a man energy, but I have that, I trust myself that I can handle it energy.
Yes.
But I think what it does do oftentimes is it projects a feeling of not needing other people, or not giving a space for someone to see that, oh, they could need me there. Like, this is where I might fit into their life, into their heart, into their spirit. So there is that need to practice vulnerability. Like, when I'm not okay, I'm like, Jen, just say you're not okay. If someone says something that hurts your feelings, say, you know what, like, and this is with my girlfriends too. You know, I've let a lot of shit roll off my back over the years, and I haven't advocated for myself in the way that I feel like I should have. And that's on me too, you know, not just on the people in my life. So
one of the things I love about this conversation right now is you can be both.
Yeah.
You can be powerful and vulnerable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things when I was single for a very long time, like I got divorced when I was 30 years old and then moved to New York City and had some guys that I dated on and off or whatever. And then Jason literally walked into my apartment one day, and while he was visiting New York for the first time, I feel like it was like kismet or whatever. But in our like getting to know each other and falling in love and all of that, it really required us both to shift a lot and heal, and also trust that the other one was going to be safe with our heart, because it's hard to break down those walls. And I remember in the early stages, because he lived here and I'm in New York City, and he was trying to get like really deep and vulnerable with me, you know, on our FaceTimes and those things. And it felt so awkward and weird, because I'm like, oh, this guy actually really wants to get to know me, like the real me. And it felt so exposed for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, finally I let down the walls, but you
Yeah.
know, there were parts of it, I think, you know, we were raised Gen X. We came up with a very different experience than the kids who were coming up now. And I feel like our parents like kind of left us alone to raise ourselves. And so we had to put up all these walls, and it's like relearning how to love someone.
Yeah.
Right. And be loved.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's, and that's why I keep calling it a practice, because it is that, because if it doesn't come easy, you need to practice. And so it's like anything, you know, yoga practice, medicine practice.
Right.
Like, vulnerability is a practice. You have to, it's like any other muscle that you're trying to build. You can't just sit on the couch and just expect that it's going to fall into your lap. Like, oh, I'm vulnerable now. Just like confident. Like, confidence is a muscle.
I'm just confident.
Like, it's, you know, it's also a practice. Those things are things that we have to lean into as women, and allow ourselves those moments to just open. Because I think those are the times when people who love us see an opportunity to demonstrate it. And if we're constantly in a state of, I got it, that doesn't give anyone an opportunity to say, you know what, I see that there's an opening here that I might be able to fill. And how can I do that for you? And it's like, that part for me was the mind-blowing part of it. And it was a conversation with my very dearest best friend, where I had shared a vulnerable moment, and she was like, we've been friends for a few years and I love you to death. She said, but I always felt like you had all your shit together. Yeah. And she said, and you just saying that you don't makes me feel safe to say that I don't too. And
has their shit together.
Yeah. And she goes, and now our friendship has gone like,
yes.
She goes, I feel exponentially closer to you. I feel like our friendship has just grown leaps and bounds just in this one conversation. And that conversation I've never forgotten, because it changed everything for me after that. I was like, this isn't about me opening myself up to you know, be hurt. It's opening myself up to people that I can trust with my heart, because they can go, hey, I can do something with that for you. If you keep giving me the emotional Heisman, I call it, like that stiff arm, like, you over there, it doesn't allow people to step in and demonstrate it. And that's what we long to do when you love somebody.
And there's also this beauty about vulnerability, especially in the position that you're at, because you are, you know, an influencer, you know, so to speak. And your vulnerability, sharing your story, is going to help someone else know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Which is the best part about it, right?
Yeah. I mean, so many DMs and women who have stopped me
Yes.
after, I spoke at the conference in tears after telling me, or women
They
who
felt
send me a really
seen.
heartfelt DM and saying, you know what, I never thought your story was going to be my story. And here I am 2 years later
Right.
going through what you just went through. And now that I'm watching you get through it, I know that I can too. And so I feel like, God, there is that feeling of, when I tell people, they're like, how do I grow my brand? I go, be vulnerable as fuck. That's how you grow your brand.
That's how you grow your brand.
Because people follow people. Like, they love business
buy
and they
from
love
people.
stuff. They buy from people. And if they love you and if they support you, then they give a shit what you're having for breakfast. No one gives a shit about your avocado toast until they give a shit about you. I always tell people, I'm like, no one gives a damn about your latte art if they don't care about you. But once they care about you, they're like, what are you drinking? What is in that smoothie? Like all
Is that turmeric?
Exactly, 100%. Do you take magnesium too? There's just all of that. But there is that. The vulnerability piece has been the thing, and all of that has been cultivated in a weekly live that I've done with my community for years now. And so many of them are like, this is the thing I count on. I know I'm going to show up and you're going to be there. We're going to have a conversation. And they've gotten to know the real me, because I don't show up as a version that I'm not. And it's my vulnerability that has connected them to me. I'm convinced.
What are you talking about on those lives?
Everything. I tell them stuff about my dating life. I tell them stuff about just funny stories. I tend to be a storyteller, and so I share silly things with them, or lessons learned, or just things I'm experiencing on the damn dating apps, or whatever the hell I'm doing. What I've got cooking as far as projects or things like that. And sometimes it's just random shit. Like, they just throw questions out to me, and I do my makeup during the lives, so I go on with my ratchet, overplucked eyebrows from 1992 when I wanted to be Linda Evangelista.
I know, I had those too.
Yeah.
Mine grew back into the big caterpillars.
Well, you're lucky.
now.
Yours grew back in. I had to draw all these suckers in, so they get to see them in all their overplucked glory, and then I paint them back on and talk to them. And so, yeah, it's an opportunity to just, literally see me, barefaced and just talk to them and share tips, tricks, whatever.
Okay, so I want to bring this back to confidence in just a minute, but you posted something and I was dying the other day. You're like, oh my God, you guys, look at this.
Oh my
these
God.
big stripes on your face.
Oh my God.
What happened?
Oh my God. So when you get into this world, this beauty influencer world, brands send you PR, right? They send you free product. You see all those unboxing videos of like, ooh, look what I got from Dior, whatever. So this one brand I love, they're called Milk Makeup. They're one of my favorite beauty brands.
I love them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So they came out with these jelly blushes in these little kind of containers. And they had sent me the whole series of them when they launched, and I loved them. And then I got a PR box, surprise in the mail with one piece. And I was like, oh, this must be a new shade in the collection. And so I open it up, and it looks fairly colorless. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's just one of those, like, dewy kind of highlighters, like it's just meant to look like a little glossy face gloss. I'm like, cool. So I go up to
Glass
my
skin.
mirror.
You're getting your glass
Yeah, I
skin
get
on.
my glass skin on, right? So I walk up to the mirror, and I'm swiping it. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty. Like, there's a hint of pink. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty. It's like a little dewy kind of glow. I'm like, that's pretty. So I just kind of rub it in, whatever. I set the stick down. I go about my business. I live on the 16th floor in my building. I go down in the elevator. I go down to pick up a couple packages. I say hi to a couple of my neighbors. I come back up the elevator. I go to turn on my camera, my front-facing camera, to create some content. And I take a look at my fucking face. I didn't realize that what they sent me was one of those pH adjusting. Remember those pH adjusting lip glosses?
Yes.
Okay, remember you put them on, they look like nothing.
Like a mood ring.
And then it's like a mood ring. Like in a minute or two, all of a sudden it was like your perfect shade of pink, supposedly, based on your chemistry. Well, that's what this shit was. I looked into the mirror and I looked like a clown that had been shot out of a cannon and then dragged behind the clown car for about 3 weeks and then dumped at the side of the road. I looked like a hot shit mess. Like the brightest. and then the funniest part was, because I couldn't see it when I was applying it, the where it was applied was completely not symmetric. So one side was like coming up this way, one side was in the center. I looked like a complete shit show. And I'm howling. I literally gave myself a jump scare when I turned on my camera. I was like, holy shit, what is this? And so I'm like, this is too funny not to share. So I composed myself. I turned on my camera and I let it rip and to share this thing. I'm like, you guys, I have to share this with you. This is hilarious. And I'm like, maybe I'm not the right girl to be a beauty influencer.
You're like, I got stripes on my face.
Oh,
It doesn't
hot
even
mess.
matter.
And one of my other makeup artist friends, she's a content creator too. Her name is Erica Taylor. She messaged me, goes, I'm more concerned about the placement. I'm like, fuck you, girl. I know. I couldn't see it when I put it on my face. Go screw.
Oh my God. I had to bring that up because I was dying when I saw that. I only watched a few seconds of it, but I knew. So how do you fix it? How'd you fix it?
So yeah, so I was like, everything is content, right? So I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm gonna film a separate piece on how to fix it when you put on too much blush. And so I did
That stained your cheeks.
I did a whole tutorial about like how do you calm the shit down if you ever put on too much blush and you look in the mirror and you're like, oh no, this is how you fix it. So yeah, I showed them how to blend it out and how to.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Oh yeah, but it is. I mean, I think that's the fun part I think about, and why people like my community and what I do is the simple fact that I'm not giving them the greatest hits. I'm giving them the full catalog.
I love it.
And not everything's
the good,
a banger.
the bad,
you know,
not everything's a banger.
Not everything's a banger. You know, like even Prince didn't have bangers all the time. Like sometimes there's a hot shit nightmare with a blush stick that you didn't realize was actually a blush stick.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Okay, so I want to weave this back to confidence. So
Yeah.
for women who are kind of in this stage of knowing that they are wanting more with their life, whether it's a new relationship or they're wanting to get out of a bad relationship and be single for a while, or maybe it's to launch and start a new career or whatever, what tips do you have for them to muster up the confidence to actually just make the move?
Yeah, I think it's a few things. I think a lot of times women get to this stage, you know, midlife, and they go, this isn't the life I thought I was going to have.
Exactly.
I didn't imagine this in the 20s and 30s. And there's this feeling of, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what my passions are. I don't know what I love, because I have been giving what I love. What I love has been what everybody else is loving. Mm-hmm. What my kids love. They love volleyball. I love volleyball. Like there's, you know, that we give so much of ourselves away in service to others that when all of a sudden our roles as mom, daughter, sister, wife, whatever it is, change, we get to that place of like, okay, well, who am I now? If I'm not like momming all the time or daughtering all the time, whatever, who am I outside of that? And so first I always tell people go back to childhood. I always tell people go back to like, what did you love when you were a kid? Like what were the things, what are the core things that you really loved before the world got in the way, before you had to do an adult bullshit thing? Like what did you used to love to do? And that'll conjure up, oh, I used to love to paint, or I used to be really artistic, or I used to love to be in nature, or I used to love animals, or I wanted to be a whatever. A lot of those core things that we loved when we were children are things that we still love as adults.
Yes.
And we kind of forget about them. Mm-hmm. And so I always talk first about that. I have them go back to childhood and think about those things. And then we take steps into like, okay, you're in your 20s. What are the things that you used to love to do before you got married, before you had kids, and like when you were just you living with, you know, in your little tiny little apartment with your whatever thrifted clothes? Like, what did you do? Like, I used to go love dancing. I used to go to concerts with my friends, and I'm like, okay, so what's stopping you from doing those things? And then I have a lot of times I have women do a success resume, and I have them go back and look at the broad scope of a life. And, you know, when you see a timeline thing in history and they have the line, little dots, like these are the major events that happen. I'm like, I want you to chart all of your major events. And I don't just mean professionally. Like, were you the only daughter in your family to go to college? Were you the whatever? You know, were you the first person to get an MBA in your family? Did you move across the country by yourself, you know, with a Labrador and $500 and no job? Like, what are the things that you're proud of? Those moments that shaped you as you lived this life up until now. Because I think sometimes we forget, and the look back is important because it gives us that ammunition and that arsenal of, oh shit, I used to be a badass. My friend said it one time, just like when I was on fire. You know, that feeling of like those moments in your life when you're like, I was on fire. Like, I was doing this, I did that, I went on this trip by myself, I packed up a bag and took 2 weeks in Thailand. You know, whatever those things are, it's helpful to be reminded of those things.
And tap back into that energy.
Yeah. And then it helps at least get that mindset going again of I am capable of big things. I am capable of making big moves. There are things that I've done that I'm really proud of. And then it is that exercise of building the muscle. So all those women who were like, I don't feel outgoing, I don't feel confident, I'm like, take yourself to dinner. To your favorite restaurant in town, like go to a place that you love, where maybe you already know the bartender, so it's lower stakes, But go and sit at the bar by yourself and have a cocktail. It doesn't even have to be the dinner. Like, just what are the things that you can do? I have friends who've never gone to the movies by themselves. Wouldn't dream of it. Yeah, like, oh God.
I don't even know if I've been to the movie theater by myself.
Yeah, but I just have friends who would never travel alone or who would never do anything.
I've done that.
Right. Yep. And so I'm like, okay, you don't have to plan a trip by yourself. You don't have to make that leap. But maybe you go to a little day trip by yourself and go explore a town you've always wanted to see. Like, how can you build that muscle in different ways? And so I think those are the challenges that I put out to women when we talk about confidence. Like, what are the little moves you can make? Because the little things compound into bigger, just like building a muscle.
Yes.
You know, you start lower weights and then you get to lift bigger weights. It's the same thing.
Yes, for sure. And the more you practice it, the more you remember, the more you can step in and embody that energy, and the more that you can, have the confidence to do those things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And maybe take that leap to start the new business or shift your business or, get out of the relationship. It's not working.
Absolutely. But it doesn't happen if you're sitting at your couch doing nothing.
It doesn't.
Like so many, sure, I would love the man of my dreams to just walk into my apartment. I don't even know how this story happened. Like, this is annoying. You two are annoying. But this is the shit that keeps women hopeful, right? Like, one day you just walked into my apartment. Like, he was my
it was
next-door neighbor.
Surprising.
Right.
But I had to do a lot of work on myself first.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was very unexpected. It was just unexpected. I think that we both were looking for someone or not looking for someone, because I wouldn't say it was that open to meet someone. And I said to God and the universe, like, I'm okay being alone for the rest of my life, but if there's someone out there for me, like, bring him to me. Like, right. I'm here doing the work, and I'm going to keep being hopeful. I'm going to have the best life I possibly can with or without him. Yeah. And, it happened very suddenly. It was very unexpected. And then I moved here within 3 months because it was COVID.
Oh, wow.
So we met in April of 2019, and we didn't start dating until November of 2019. But once we were dating, because we'd known each other for 6 months, it was on. And so it was very fast and very romantic in all the things that you want. But also, there was a time when he was like, I'm not really sure, so I'm not going to make any move. I know that I'm interested in her, but I know that there have been things in my life that haven't worked out, and so I have to take a look at myself to understand why. Yeah. Because the next relationship I'm getting into is the one that I'm going to work through and work on. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we laugh, because it's like we love each other so much, but we trigger each other, but we also know that that's the path to healing. Right. And we're both being each other's mirror. Yeah. Developing the better relationship. Like, don't show me that. I was trying to hide that. I know. Show me that. But I think that kind of story doesn't happen for most. And so there are a lot of folks who are like, okay, you want all those things. I'm like, but you got to go out. You got to go. If I was going, by the way, for anyone listening who is single trying to find someone, I would go out on like 2 to 3 dates a week with people who definitely I did not see myself with. Meaning, like, I was being open to all shapes and sizes, all types of careers, all types of finance levels. I'm like, I can make my own money, so the person doesn't have to be wealthy, or like, I've just opened up to a lot of different possibilities. I think sometimes I remember talking to a friend that I had for a long time. She was part of our New York family, because my aunt and family members lived there, and she was like, I just won't date bald guys. And I was like, I don't get it. Well, part of that is like 50% of the men are bald. Also, God bless her, but like, I'm like, you're not the biggest prize. Exactly. I mean, she was in her like late 30s, 40s, and her parents were still paying for everything. She was like a trust fund girl, but like also just living, I don't know. There are just certain things. I'm like, you're literally like canceling out like half the people you could have an amazing relationship with over a feature like being bald or with hair. I mean, now I'm really stoked that Jason has a full head of hair, which is nice amazing. It's good hair, bro. God willing, it stays. But I always tell people, like, okay, if you want to put yourself out there, you know what you have to do, right? You have to put yourself out there. Exactly. And be vulnerable, and also try, because that's the thing. And this is, as with dating, is with life, as in business and everything that you do. It might not, the first one might not work out. Might not work out the way that you expected. It might work out very differently than you expected, but also be way better than you expected. Right. And so this is the journey of life. And I think a lot of times as women, we hold ourselves back from doing the thing that we want to do because we get in our heads about we should do it this way, or this is how things are supposed to be, and I should just be happy with what I have instead of going after what I'm really excited about,
Right.
because it's working, right? We need to give ourselves permission to want something else,
For sure. Yeah.
want something more.
Yeah. And sometimes it's that abrupt shift, and you just kind of pull the emergency brake and be like, okay, I'm going to give this thing a shot. Yeah. Do a
Did you
little
see
wheelie
that?
in the parking lot. Like, woo! Yeah.
When I think of the emergency brake, I think of living in San Francisco and having to
Oh,
put the
100%.
e-brake on the tender
All the
to
time.
go up or down a hill.
All the time. Which way do we turn the
I know.
tires so we don't
How am I
back
going to
down
park
the
this? I know.
mountain? Right.
Okay, so let's talk about your new podcast program show.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So I'm working on 2 projects right now. One is called She's So Self-Centered. That is going to be on a network called This Is It TV.
Love
and
it.
It's a women's only programming, and it's for women. I think they may have 1 or 2 like male guests, but it's mostly women centric.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're doing is we're having conversations with women in midlife who have made big changes, made big pivots, or we're talking to guests who can help women get back in touch with their most kind of
love it.
selfish and self-centeredness. Whether it's design things or whether it's someone who's got a really inspirational story and decides to go be a Broadway actress at 50. Those
I love it.
conversations to inspire women that hey, there are opportunities. There's no expiration date on dreams and opportunity, and so here's some examples of people who have done these things and yes, worked through all the fear, worked through all the imposter syndrome, all those things. But yeah, I want it to be just very similar to what I do now. I mean, I think it's going to start small and just probably like something like this, like a podcast style show where it's just a couple of us. But maybe one day we have a bigger and broader scope of work. But we'll see what happens.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
And what's the second thing?
The second thing I'm noodling on is a true podcast with a friend of mine. She's a new friend that I met at the tail end of last year, and we're 2 generations. She's 37, I think, going to be
amazing.
38, and I'm 54. And she's like California, Mercury's in retrograde, woo-woo shit, and I'm like New Jersey, everybody can go fuck themselves shit. And so we're coming up with, my edgy kind of humor and her kind of woo-woo, get-centered mentality.
I love it.
And just approaching all kinds of subjects from dating to relationships to family and all of that, but from the perspective of 2 generations.
I love that.
Who are also, good friends.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so where can everyone find you on Instagram, or where would you like to send
Sure.
people?
My socials are Making Up for Glossed Time, like lip gloss. Glossed Time, past tense. And then my website is glossedworld.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Jen.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing. Finally!
So fun!
I
know! And I'll have links for everything in the show notes.
Perfect.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode today. Jen is a true powerhouse. Now, I'd love to hear what you thought about the show, so make sure that you place a little comment below. If you've enjoyed this video today and this podcast, I would love for you to make sure that you subscribe to this channel and click that little notification bell so that you're notified the next time we release new episodes. And if you're not following Jen or me on Instagram, make sure that you are following us. I'm at I am Tracy Matthews, and Jen is at Making Up for Glossed Time. And if you want to learn more about how you can work with Jen, she is hosting a brand new program called the Confidence Clubhouse. It is an ongoing support membership where she's supporting women in midlife who are in the midst of layoff, career changes, divorces, major life transitions in midlife to give you the confidence to move forward and be the most powerful version of you. So if that sounds good, I have a link in the show notes. Either way, ciao for now. Thanks so much for watching the show today.